Hey guys, gals, and non-binary pals, I'm your host Hannah, and this is Under the Scrubs. Oh my god, guys, what a rough weekend. So, we went up to visit my family. We went up to surprise my mom for her birthday and share good news. Before I announced it on here, I wanted to be able to tell my family and my close friends the good news that I had gotten into grad school. So I'll be starting my doctorate program in January for DNP. I don't know what that means as far as the future, like of Under the Scrubs. I don't know if that means like I'll put out episodes less frequently, like every other week, or maybe I'll use this as like a platform to like study. I was always the type where like if I can learn it and then turn around and teach it, then like I knew it more. So maybe I'll take you along through DNP school as well, but that will be a problem for future Hannah to figure out. But Sunday, I'm like sitting at the coffee shop. We're gonna head out back to Idaho, and I got a text message from my dog's daycare that she had been involved in an altercation. My sweet angel baby had been attacked. A dog tried to hump her, and she is a child of God, a sister in Christ, a Puritan, and so she went to correct the behavior, and that dog did not like it, and so it escalated. She had to go to the ER, the vet ER. She's home and safe now, but I mean, she had to get stitches. She's got some open puncture wounds. I mean, I've sobbed. I've sobbed all day yesterday. Majority of today, emotionally, I am drained. She's got the worst haircut ever. Yesterday we went to go pick her up. She put her face in between my knees and she just was like groaning. So then I just lost it in the lobby. Every time I think I just can't cry anymore over this, I do. I just end up crying more. I told Chris on the drive home, I was like, I don't think I'll ever own another dog after her. I think I just soulmated a little too hard with her. I just love this dog like too much. I said something to my mom on FaceTime after we got her home, and I was like, the love of my life is hurting. And she was like, Chris is right behind you, and you know, he looks fine to me. And I was like, no, Fern is hurting. She's the love of my life. Category non-male. I mean, I don't know. I'm just not doing very well. I've also put my two cats on a diet, mainly just the fattest one, because turns out body shaming him has not been working out. I picked him up last week and he was dense. Chris was like, oh, he's big boned. He's big boned. Okay, bones don't jiggle or swing side to side when he runs. So I took him upstairs, slapped him on the scale, and in blaring neon red numbers, it read 18.8. So Fatso is on weight loss food, and I can't think of how to exercise him, so now I will be chasing him around every evening to help him lose more weight. And this is where it's kind of sad, right? So we got home Sunday, I took my suitcase upstairs, and I see our guest bedroom door is closed. It was not closed when we left, so I open up the door, and both of my cats like peek around the door as if like, oh my god, who's out there? So somehow they got locked in the guest bedroom. Not sure how long, definitely by accident. So he definitely missed a meal or a couple over the weekend. He definitely could afford it. So we're just kickstarting the diet. I don't really have a timeout. Your girl's mentally drained, maybe a little traumatized. It's sad because last Thursday, we went and met with a realtor, so we're like, ooh, like we're gonna maybe go house hunting, unless, I don't know, this dog breaks my bank, then maybe not, and then we can probably break the bank further and go to therapy. I'm on this DIY house upgrade kick right now, so I think we need to get into a house, like if we want to upgrade it, like soon. Otherwise, I'm going to phase it out, and then if we buy a house after I've already phased out the DIY stuff, like we're going to be shit out of luck. I'm not going to want to do it anymore because I've lost the motivation. I phased it out. I do have a really bad habit of watching something and being like, oh, I can do that. Absolutely. Or learning how much something is and being like, absolutely not. I'll just like learn how to do it myself. So we're going to see what happens. We're going to see if we can make some big kid moves in the next month or so. Maybe get a house. Maybe send my dog and I to therapy. I don't know. Maybe I'll just be a vet, because turns out vet bills are very expensive. Although Fern's got health insurance now, so shout out to that. You guys just got big emotions. Okay, so we are going to continue on from last week, where we talked about organ donation. Pretty much the same resources, although this week I did look at Transmedics, Paragonix, PubMed, and Donate Life. So we had kind of left off, we were talking about circulatory death, where you have a certain amount of time to pass when you're taken off of life support. If you do pass, then the organ procurement proceeds, and if you don't pass, then you're taken back to ICU and you're put on comfort care. If you are pronounced brain dead, then the organs are procured at that time in the OR, but once again, there's rigorous testing that's done, and we are not comparing it to the main Kentucky, as there's many gaps in that story, and just go listen to the latest, or that last episode, okay? So, back in the day, organ transportation, they were like packing the organs on ice, basically in like coolers, right? And then they were taking it to the new place. Nowadays, there's multiple ways to transport the organs. A personal favorite of mine is Transmedics, and that's available for heart, lungs, and liver, and it's actually the only FDA-approved technology. The heart is quite literally reanimated. So blood is drained from the donor and it's loaded into the Transmedic system, and that's for the heart, for the lung, and for the liver. For the heart, though, from what I am gathering, from what I'm understanding and what I saw, like the heart has pacing wires that are put into it. They're clamping off other circulation that would kind of go out, and then the heart is placed into what they call the organ care system, and it's essentially reanimated. It is restarted, and then it's transported, but like it literally has its own EKG rhythm. It's kept warm. They're pumping oxygenated blood through it. It's got all of its different pressure level readings on the monitor, like you would see in the ICU. Basically, if you looked at the monitor, you would think that a patient is attached to it. Normally, when you take a heart out of a patient, you have about like 6 hours to get it into the recipient. Hawaii itself would normally have like 30 to 40 hearts that go bad annually, just due to the distance not being able to get it to a recipient in time. But with this form of transport, you're actually looking at like 12 hours now. For lungs, it's like putting them on a ventilator and letting them breathe. Transmedic has actually done like 20 plus hours of cross clamp time from Hawaii to North Carolina. So that's like 20 hours of flying where it's not attached to a person. So putting it in this Transmedic system allows the lung to be at near physiologic state so that physicians can assess and improve the condition of lungs between donor and recipient. And I'll touch on that in just a second, because the lungs actually don't have to be in perfect condition in order for a recipient to receive them. Transmedic also does, like I said, the liver as well. It's got its own circulatory system, and it's really just like a fascinating system to watch like the liver fill back up with blood as it's like getting pumped through in its own little circulatory system. The disadvantage of putting organs on ice is that you really can't assess the organ. So when you're trying to look at functionality and metabolic activity, you can't test it when it's on ice. You also can't look at or really do any kind of therapeutic intervention to optimize the condition of the organ, which really can negatively impact transplant outcomes. I mean, imagine getting your organ to the destination, you get maybe a recipient, hope up just to find out, oops, shit, sorry, we actually can't use it. We didn't see this issue, or maybe we knew this issue was kind of there. We didn't know how bad it was when it was on ice. Might be. So Paragonix is another way to transport organs that I've seen. I've personally seen the lungs. They're kind of like funky shaped cooler boxes, and it is cold storage. It's kind of cool because Paragonix actually has an app for the organ team, and the app is connected to the cooler box. You can track the temperature and monitor it. You can track GPS. So, like when you're taking a flight back to wherever it is that you're going with it, you can chat with the team about the organ. You can log key events during the timeline, so that way everyone can see it. So, like when it's out of the body, when it's in the paragonics cooler, you can really just do a lot with it. And then since it's online, you can connect with the team from a long distance. So you can either log in online or you can do it from the app, and you can kind of just see where it's at, what's going on with it. They have a cardiac one. They have a couple different lung ones. They have a liver, pancreas, and a kidney one. So they are a little bit more versatile in that transport model. So it's kind of cool because when you are going to do an organ procurement, all the teams typically arrive the day of the procedure. So it's really interesting because I always kind of thought that maybe like the team got there like the night before or something, but they usually arrive the day of the procedure typically, and all the organs have their own individual team. A lot of them charter planes. That way the planes will bring them in, and then it's like as soon as they get their organ out, they get it stored however it is that they're going to store it. They get it stable however it is that they're going to transport it, and then boom, they're out. They're gone. They're taking it wherever they're going to. Talking with a couple of different of the lung transplant teams, I just learned some very interesting things. They were telling me that lung transplants are usually difficult to find matches for. You kind of essentially need a carbon copy of yourself. That the more infusions you get, so like blood or platelets or things from other people, the more infusions that you get, the more difficult it can be to get transplants, because your chance of rejection goes up because of the antibodies that you receive from those infusions. Lungs do need to go through testing prior to transplant, and that they will put lungs in patients that have treatable issues like a pulmonary embolism. One set of lungs that I saw actually had a pulmonary embolism on one side, and I've never seen one on the outside of a lung, so that was pretty interesting. And they said that they can still put that in a patient because it's difficult to be able to find lungs that are going to fit into somebody. So if the worst thing is a pulmonary embolism, they're like, we'll just give them an anticoagulant, break that bad boy up, and there you go. You still got a set of lungs for somebody. Supposedly there isn't a standardization of criteria of whether, you accept or decline lungs, and the assessment and selection of them is based off of experience, and it's largely subjective. To me, that kind of makes sense because I feel like not everything is cookie cutter in the field of medicine, but it does make sense that you need objective techniques in place for physicians to utilize and follow to ensure proper screening for lung transplants and donor screenings, just to ensure that you're minimizing your risk of post-transplant complications. Another thing that you get from organ donations is you get allografts. We use allografts in surgeries a lot. I know in the last episode I kind of listed off all of them that we used them in, but some of the most important ones, are your aortic and pulmonary valves, your conduit repair and reconstruction, congenital defect repairs for cardiac surgery, your abdominal aortic aneurysm, and your aortoiliac diseases. Those are all treated using allografts. Failed AV fistulas, peripheral vascular disease, and critical limb ischemia. Those are all treated surgically using donor allograft vessels and valves, obviously. But, you can use it for orthopedics, spine, trauma. You just used a shit ton of allografts for a lot of life-saving or life-changing procedures. And if organs can't be donated for, live recipients, you can also donate it for research. So you can use ocular tissue to look into diabetic retinopathy, glaucoma, age-related macular degeneration. You can look at heart conditions like coronary artery disease, heart failure. You can take the pancreas and look at diabetes, kidneys, and chronic kidney disease. You can take the liver and look at hepatitis or cancer, lungs and cystic fibrosis, bladders and prostates for cancer and incontinence. Who doesn't, want to stop peeing themselves? You can take tissue and you can look at cancer drugs and biomarkers. You can look at pain management modalities, stem cell treatments. I mean, there's just so much. There's a lot of medical advancements that have been made off of the backs of individuals who have donated organs and bodies and tissues to science, and we benefit from that. And I mean, are we really thanking them by being selfish with our organs as well? When you die, do you really want to take perfectly functioning organs with you? Be buried with all your money so none of your family can have it? At that point, you might as well be buried with all your kids and your animals like pharaohs used to do, you selfish prick. So I figured, too, we can address some of the myths about organ donations, okay? If you think or say it's against my religion, most major faiths actually accept organ donation. Catholicism, Islam, Buddhism, most branches of Judaism, most Protestant faiths. Some religions actually believe that organ donation's even an act of charity. Next. I can't have an open casket funeral if I have an organ donation. I don't know if you know this, but organs are in your abdominal cavity. Unless you're going to be buck naked in your casket, your incision site would be covered. And also, you are treated with the utmost care and respect, and no one would see that you've been, have anything donated. I'm not in the best of health. Maybe some organs might not be in tip-top shape to take, but that doesn't mean that others might not be ready to rock and roll for donation. My family gets the bill for organ donation. That bill actually gets passed on to the recipient. Call it a finder's fee, if you will. The hospital won't save me. I can promise you with every fiber of my being that is a bold-faced lie. I can't tell you how much paperwork it is, and if I can avoid doing it, I would love to. Everyone would. We won't even consider donation until your prognosis for recovery is grim. Only rich people get organs. It's actually a computer system that decides who is the sickest and in most need for an organ. It's matched by blood and tissue typing, organ size, medical urgency, waiting time, and geographic location. You will sell my organs on the market and or get financial incentive for my organs. If I did all of that, I'd be tits out on a beach in Greece and not in an apartment in Idaho speaking into a microphone, babes. It's a federal felony to give or receive money or any tangible gift in exchange for a donated organ. We don't even get free shit from the medical reps anymore, so I'm definitely not getting anything for getting organs for anyone. You also, fun fact, can do something called a living donation. This would be like normal person donating organ or tissue to someone in need, but both of you are alive. So you can do like liver, tissue, or kidney. So between the age of 18 to 65, you can register to be a living kidney donor or living donor, really. It's kind of crazy because, like, if you got a kidney transplant, they actually leave, like, both of your kidneys in there, and they just slap that transplanted one in the middle. So then you have, like, 3 in there, and you can actually have, like, 3 or 4. So there are a couple different ways for donation. There's, like, directed donation, and that would be me saying like, hey, I want to give my kidney to my brother. So then we go through testing, boom, we're a match, here you go, and then I get to hold it over his head as long as we're alive, and then if he happened to die before me, which is a good chance because he doesn't go to the doctor, I'd probably ask for it back. Non-directed donation would be saying like, hey, I want to register, I go through testing, and then I wait to be contacted if I do become a match. And then if I become a match, maybe I get to meet the recipient, maybe not. But, like, I don't come out and name somebody directly that I want to donate to. Now, there is tissue donation, and that would be birth tissue, which I feel is, like, kind of a gross way to put it, but there's really no other way. It's used in reconstructive procedures that promote healing, treat burns, and painful wounds. It's a type of living donation, and it doesn't impact the health of mom or baby. Birth tissue is considered like the placenta, amniotic membrane, chorionic membrane, amniotic fluid, umbilical cord tissue and veins, and Wharton's jelly. For liver donation, you can actually donate like one lobe, and your liver regenerates, and it will regenerate and be back to fully functioning within 6 to 12 weeks. Living organ donation and transplantation was initially developed in response to critical shortage of deceased donors. So it's kind of a cool way to save a life in such a meaning and impactful way while still alive. Majority of people on an organ transplant list are waiting for kidneys. There's like almost 90,000 people. One organ donor can save 8 lives and heal 75 more individuals through eye and tissue donation. So don't be selfish or ignorant, and don't believe every little thing you hear. And also screw you, New York Times, for doing a shitty job on your article. Shame shall be had on your household. I do my shame thing, but Fern is napping behind me, and I used to do it to her when she would have accidents inside the house when she was potty training, and I don't want to wake her up with PTSD, so screw you guys. I think all in all, I've been really glad to be able to see the whole process. I have an appreciation for the whole thing. I have an appreciation for science, for the progression of transportation, of medicine, for being able to take such a devastating time in multiple people's lives and being able to meet it with such grace and compassion. It feels like more lives are just saved than 8, honestly. I feel like the human body is amazing, and it seems like even though the donor is considered passed on, they still live on through the recipient. I think personally, if I were a recipient, I'd be reaching out to the family and I'd be like giving them updates on my life and letting them know that that organ did not go to waste, that I was living my life to the fullest and taking their loved one along the way, and that we'd be doing it together. We're doing hot girl shit. I'm gonna level with you. I'm not confident what I'm gonna be doing next week. Maybe something true crime, maybe something historical, maybe something current. I don't know yet. Kind of want to see about trying to create some merch. Don't know yet, but I'm gonna figure it out. I think just right now, emotionally, I am dead. Mentally, I am spent. And I know I'm going to go do some wound care on my baby doggy, and I'm going to probably go pay an Etsy witch to put a curse on someone and their dog that I've personally never met. So, kind of busy today. But I will catch you guys next Tuesday. Okay? Okay, love you. Bye.